Hey guys, this is Mara the Reading Hedgehog with my September of book haul. It's a little late, I know we're halfway through October, but better late than never. So I got a lot of books to show you because I went a little crazy in October, or September. I mean, it was a really big month for new releases, and I went to Powell's and stuff like that. So yeah, let's just get into this. I'm first going to show you the new releases I got in September, in no particular order other than, the order that they were released. So the first one I got is Furthermore by Taylor Mafi. This came out August 30th, so it's not a September new release, but close enough. This is actually the first Taylor Mafi book I've ever picked up. I've heard of her other series. It's on my list to read someday. Not super, not high up on the priority list, but it's on my list. But this one sounded really cool. I think it's kind of a retelling of Alice in Wonderland, but the artwork really captured me and the synopsis sounded really good, so I picked it up and really excited to read it at some point. The next one I picked up is A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This also came out August 30th, and this is the second book in her An Ember in the Ashes. I don't think it's a trilogy. I think there's going to be 4 books. Read the first book when it first came out, really liked it, enjoyed the world and the storyline stuff, so yeah, I picked up the second one and I cannot wait to find out what happens next. Next, I picked up The Scourge by Jennifer A. Nielsen. This is also an August 30th release. This is Jennifer A. Nielsen's new standalone novel. I think it's considered middle grade still. Her books kind of straddle older middle grade, younger YA in my opinion, but this is her new one. I don't really know what it's about. It's Jennifer A. Nielsen, so I went and bought it because I will always buy all of her books. I love Jennifer A. Nielsen's books so much, so really excited to pick this one up and love the cover art. Next, I bought The Forgetting by Sharon Cameron. This came out September 13th, and this is her new, I believe it's going to be a standalone novel. This is another one that I don't really know what it's about, but Sharon Cameron is one of my all-time favorite authors. I've loved her ever since her first book, The Dark Unwinding, so I pick up all of her books when they're released, and I am probably going to read this one next, not sure, but I'm really excited. Don't care what it's about, because it's by her, and it will be awesome. After that, I picked up Stealing Snow by Danielle Page. This came out September 20th, and this is the first book in her new series. I don't know if it's going to be a trilogy or a series. I think it's going to be a series. This is a retelling of Snow White, obviously, as far as I know. I don't remember the details of the synopsis, but Danielle Page is a great author. I love her Dorothy Must Die series, and I'm really sad it's coming to an end soon, but I'm glad she's starting a new series, and I can't wait to see her take on the Snow White stories. After that, I picked up Three Dark Crowns by Kendare Blake, also a September 20th release, and this is the first book in her new trilogy. Kendare Blake, love her books. I haven't read all of them yet, but I have them all. But I remember last time I went to one of her author events, she talked about this book when it was still kind of an early concept, and it sounded really good. I don't really remember what she said about it, but I remember that I was very interested and could not wait for this to come out, so I can't wait to start this. Next, I picked up Frost Like Night by Renee Sarah Roche. Wrong author. This also came out September 20th, and this is the third and final book in the Snow Like Ashes trilogy. Epic fantasy. I also read that one when it first came out and really liked it, and I have not read the second one yet, but now that I have the third, I can marathon the series, so very excited. After that, I picked up Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. This came out September 20th, and this is the first book in a new series, trilogy. This was actually a win buy. I hadn't heard about it, but when I went to Barnes & Noble to pick up a bunch of my holds, this was sitting on the shelf, and it sounded interesting. If I remember correctly, it's about a girl who becomes obsessed with, following Jack the Ripper's cases and trying to find out who he is. If I remember correctly, don't quote me on that because my memory of the synopsis is hazy, but it sounded like one that could either be actually surprisingly good or not very good at all, but I was willing to give it a try, so I picked it up. Next, I picked up Bright Smoke, Cold Fire by Rosamund Hodge. This came out September 27th, and this is the first book in her new trilogy. Her first trilogy, might add. Her other two were standalones. They took place in the same universe, but they were standalones. This one is a retelling of Romeo and Juliet, and Rosamund Hodge is another one of those authors that I will always buy her books, no matter what they're about, because I adored Crimson Bound and Cruel Beauty. Loved them the moment they came out, so she's one of my most trusted authors, and I cannot wait to start this one. After that, I picked up probably the majority of the reading world's most anticipated release of September, and that is The Fever Code by James Dashner, the 5th book in the Maze Runner series, and the 2nd prequel. This came out September 27. Have not started reading it yet. I'm being good and waiting until I finish my current read because I should, but I really want to read it and I cannot wait. Yes, been anticipating this ever since he announced it was going to be published, and I think majority of people are on my side and waiting for this, so yes, very, very excited. Finally, the last new release I got was Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. This also came out September 27, and this is the 2nd book in her Six of Crows duology, also called the Dregs duology. I don't know if it's really called that anymore, but I remember when it was officially going to be called the Dregs duology. Yeah, Six of Crows was one of my best reads of the year. I think you all remember I adored that book, and I cannot wait to read this one, and I'm really sad it's only a duology, but it's a pretty thick book, and look, it's got red pages. It's just awesome. So yeah, really looking forward to this. So, as I mentioned, I went to Powell's as well, and so I got, actually not a lot of non-new releases. A lot of the new releases I actually got from Powell's, but I'll show you the non-new releases I bought, just books I bought in general. So the first one I got was Terror and Wonder by Lloyd Alexander. This is the 4th book in the Chronicles of Prydain. I always pronounce it wrong. This is the one Lloyd Alexander series I have never read, even though it's his most popular, and I've been collecting all the books in these beautiful paperback editions. I love them. So I can read the series, and then I can finally say, I've read all of Lloyd Alexander's books. Yeah, so I picked that up. I also picked up Lord Brocktree by Brian Jacques. I know his last name is pronounced Jakes, but I cannot bring myself to pronounce it that way. Chronologically, I believe this is actually the first Redwall book. Publication order, I have no idea. I go by chronological, but I've been collecting this series whenever I can find it, so I can actually read the entire series someday, because I would like to. Next, I picked up Airborne by Kenneth Opel. This is the first book in the, I think it's called the Matt Cruz trilogy, or Airborne trilogy. I remember when this came out, and for some reason I didn't read it, but it's been on my list forever, and now I've got all 3 of the books, so I can start reading it, and I'm very excited because I've been wanting to read some steampunk, airship-type stories for a while. Next, I picked up The Hand of Dinotopia by Alan Dean Foster. I love this book. I read it a long time ago when I was a kid. I grew up on Dinotopia. I adored the books, and have a love-hate relationship with the TV miniseries they did. Even as a kid, I had a love-hate relationship with it, but I had this book as a kid in paperback, and I found it in hardcover, so I'm really happy, and I think I have almost all the Dinotopia books now. I'm missing 2, and then I'll have them all. Then I picked up The Transatlantic Conspiracy by G.D. Falkson. This is, I think it was released in June, so a semi-new release. This was also a whim buy. I hadn't heard about it, and then I was at Powell's kind of browsing, and this caught my attention, and it's historical, but kind of steampunk alternate historical, sort of, and I love those kind of stories, and it's a mystery. And William Ritter, the author of the Jacoby series, which you know I adore, blurbed it on the back, and that was enough for me, and I'm pretty sure this is a standalone. It's a pretty thin, quick read, so I went ahead and got it. It should be fun. Next, I picked up Mask of the Red Death and Dance of the Red Death, both by Bethany Griffin. This is a duology based off of Edgar Allan Poe's Mask of the Red Death short story. Read this a long time ago, really liked it. I wasn't really expecting to, but ended up really liking it. Bethany Griffin has a very captivating writing style. And I've been looking for this series for a while, but, you know, it's not really it's not all that popular, and it's not new anymore, but I finally found it. I found both of them in pristine condition. I'm really excited, because I kind of want to reread this series during October, because, yeah, exciting. And then I picked up Traveler by Arwen Elise Dayton. This is the second book in the Seeker trilogy. Yes, it's a trilogy. I read Seeker when it first came out. I think I had an arc of it, actually. Liked it. Not the best book I've ever read, but I liked it enough to read Traveler, because I do want to find out what happens next. So yes, I finally picked out. This came out in January, so early this year, and I kept putting off getting it for some reason, and then I finally did get it, and yay. So early in September, I actually went on a beach trip for the weekend. It was really nice. And where we went, they had a little used bookstore, like really tiny used bookstore. But, you know, knowing me, I managed to find it, and I actually ended up spending hours there, and I, of course, walked away with some books. So, the first books I picked up were Gifts, Voices, and then Powers. This, all three by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is, excuse me, I think a semi-new young adult trilogy that she's released. I'm not sure if it's all that new, but I saw a hardcover edition of Powers at Powell's, so I'm assuming it's newish. It sounded really good. I don't really remember what they're about now that I picked them up. But it sounded really good and interesting, and the one book I've read by Ursula K. Le Guin I really enjoyed, so I picked this up because it was pretty cheap. And they had all three of them. And then I also picked up Tahanu, also by Ursula K. Le Guin, and this is the fourth book in the Earthsea series of hers, which, like Lloyd Alexander's series, I'm trying to collect all of them so I can then read her series. I know I haven't read it, it's shameful of me, but I'm going to read it now. And then, of course, you know, I picked up some manga, so bear with me, those people who aren't interested in manga, because you're going to have to look at them. So, I'm not going to show you these individually, but I got volume 6 through 11 of Pandora Hearts. This is my current new obsession, while Attack on Titan is taking its dear sweet time, releasing one volume after another. Really adore this series. The characters are great, the storyline's great, the artwork is great, so yes, I splurged on getting volume 6 through 11 because I had to continue on with this series, and I need to get the rest soon. I also picked up the first volume of After School Charisma. This was a series that actually was recommended to me on Goodreads, based on some other ones I had read, and it sounded interesting, and I was at Powell's, and they had it, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get the first volume and give it a try. Long story short of it, it's about a school that makes clones of famous historical figures and leaders, like Alexander the Great and Einstein and Hitler, and the protagonist is the one person there that's not a clone. So it sounded really interesting, and so I picked it up. I also got volume 7, 8, and 12 of Bestsara. I'm collecting this series, as you know, and these are the ones I was missing, so now I can continue on reading it, and very excited about that. I also got volume 4 of Red River. My friend Catherine got me into this series, historical fiction / kind of fantasy. It's got fantasy elements, about the Hittites, and it's really good so far. Really like it. I also got volume 1 and 2 of Library Wars. I've been told that I really must start this series, but I'm not sure I'm going to like it because the words my friends has been, you need to start Library Wars. I'm really curious to see what you're going to think of it. Which probably will mean I'm going to have heated opinions on it, knowing them. But I am excited to start it because it does sound interesting. Then I got the second bind-up of Hanekimi, so volumes 4 through 6. This is kind of my go-to happy series right now because I'm all caught up on Skip Beat and I need something, and this is making me very happy. And then finally, I got the 5th bind-up of the collector's edition of Fruits Basket that Yen Press has been releasing. They've been releasing one every month, and this was their latest. They have another one coming out at the end of October. And yeah, these are really, really gorgeous editions, so I've been collecting them so I can finish Fruits Basket, and yes, so I can finish it and own them all because they're gorgeous. So those are all the books that I got in September, and I was going to do a September reading wrap-up, but I've kind of actually genuinely forgotten what I read in September because I was bad and I did not write them down. So I will be doing an October reading wrap-up because I am keeping track this time. And also I have a couple of reviews for a couple books that will be going up. You're gonna have to wait a little longer because life has just been super busy lately, and then I got sick and then life got busy again. But expect those because those will be coming soon. And I hope you enjoyed this, like, comment, ask questions as usual, and I will see you guys around. Bye.